Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Verizon's out with a new unlimited plan, and it's even more expensive. It comes with perks like more high-speed data and international passes, but it bucks a trend of carriers introducing cheaper plans. So, and frankly, I kind of miss the days when unlimited was just unlimited. This is now above unlimited.
Yeah, that will never happen again. I think once they realize they could milk as much money out of you as they wanted, it was
Yeah,
just
they've
like,
now broken things out like HD video, mobile hotspot capabilities, whether or not you get these international data passes. They've even thrown in cloud services for this really expensive plan, which, again, it's called Above Unlimited. It starts at $95 for one line, but it goes down as low as $60 for 4 lines.
I think a big question that some people that don't know all the aspects of the deal might have is like, does this have anything to do with net neutrality?
Tangentially, I guess. Well, right now, it's the answer would be no. I think down the line there might be some effect, but the fact that it is an unlimited plan, you are technically getting unlimited data, but they've kind of sliced and diced the definition of unlimited. It's unlimited data, but it's not necessarily high-speed data all the time.
So now that Verizon's kind of crossed this line, do you think other like telecoms are essentially saying, "Oh, hey, we can do that too. We should probably get more money out
We
of
started to
folks."
see a little bit of it. I mean, AT&T and T-Mobile have slightly different tiers and options based on, again, like HD video. If you want to watch high quality video, you've got to pay extra. Sprint just launched a $15 unlimited plan that strips out all the perks. It's basically just unlimited data. So you can see the carriers are experimenting with different models. All right, Alfred, you got an exclusive look at how Uber fights fraud. Tell me more about this.
Okay, so there's been a lot of scam attempts for Uber. Like they say they fight them off about every day or so.
Wow.
And it usually revolves around GPS spoofing apps. You can basically tell like your phone that you're actually in one place when you're not. And then scammers who use like fake or stolen credit card numbers, they will use that to basically give themselves money on Uber that way. And they'll also use that to game Uber. So Uber has these incentive programs where like if you do 125 rides in one day, they'll give you an extra $500.
And how does Uber fight? I mean, where's AI come into? That's the big thing,
they've
right?
been using machine learning now to kind of analyze, like, okay, so these are all the trips that are on this route, and if you notice, they're all at this altitude. Whereas if it's from a GPS spoofer, this altitude is insane. Like they're like
Just all over the place.
They're like 200 feet up in the air, and unless these are the
new Uber,
flying
the
cars,
Uber flying cars,
that
yeah.
we've all been expecting, it's just like, okay, this is probably a scam. So they've been able to work ways out like using machine learning to block them now.
Got it. And really, this this is a good thing because some of these scams really hurt the drivers themselves, right? It's
Yeah.
not just Uber.
Yeah, and it hurts the drivers where they end up having to pay for it because the credit card companies will say like, hey, this was a stolen credit card.
Right.
Give us the money back. But if they report it to Uber, then Uber ends up paying for it. So
Oh,
they
gotcha.
don't lose that much money if they report it.
Okay.
But Uber like loses like 3 times in this scenario because they have to
Yeah.
pay the driver, then they have to pay the credit card company.
Oh, wow.
And then like they still have fallen victim to the scam that they don't know where it's like coming from.
All right, let's talk about Comcast. The nation's largest cable provider officially offered its deal. It's a $65 billion bid in cash to buy Fox. Now, keep in mind, Disney already has a deal with Fox on the table for $52.5 billion in stock. This is obviously a much richer offer. But again, as we said yesterday, this kind of takes away from the idea of that Avengers X-Men reunion.
I didn't know you were allowed to do that. I didn't know you were allowed to be in talks for like billions of dollars. And it's like, no,
you can come in, you can snake in. Again, this is an unsolicited bid. It's not like Fox asked for this. And Comcast even offered to cover roughly $4 billion in breakup fees if they were to basically switch partners.
Oh my God, Comcast sounds very thirsty about
I know.
this.
Lastly, Mozilla is in the news thanks to a scoop from our own Stephen Shanklin. He reported that the Firefox makers are working on a web browser that you can control with your voice. It's called Scout.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool. I really would have to check that out. But if it gets really popular, I feel like I'm just going to go to people's houses like, cnet.com, go to cnet.com.
Read everything. All right, with that, for more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening. All right, this music just got really creepy.
Welcome to the scary zone.
This is the true 359 After Hours show.
I don't know why it lines
dark.
up like that sometimes.
It's dark.
That was totally
By
unintentional.
the way, our timer we forgot to turn on the timer. Actually, it wasn't on at all.
Wait, you've been using a timer?
Yeah.
I'm more like a bird where I have an internal timer where I just
Well,
like,
your
know
internal
these things.
timer's always wrong then. So
I think our audience just wants to hear me talk more. So
That is not the case.
That is definitely not the case.
Anyways, it is time, as always, to go ahead and have me jump into the chat
Yes.
and see what good comments and questions y'all have
Listen
over the
to the
topics at
people.
hand. What's that?
listen to the people, Brian.
Listen to the people, the people's voice. Oh, wait, who was that? Was that, what wrestler was that?
No, you're thinking about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
There
He
you
was
go.
the people's champ.
People's champ. There we go. Question from Ethan Schaefer. Do you think Amazon is starting to transition into the mobile phone world? We've
Well,
seen them
I
go
mean,
down that path
they
before.
did it before, and it didn't work out so well. The old Fire Phone. I still keep trying to get Ben to bring up the idea of Amazon resurrecting the Fire Phone, but he's not biting. No, look, it's at this point, they do have a program to sell cheap phones made by other companies. There's like an Amazon phone program, but yeah, in terms of them making their own hardware, it seems unlikely. I know there were some rumors about a low cost phone, like an Amazon Ice, like Fire and Ice.
Oh,
But
God.
that never really came to fruition. Maybe it's still in the works. We don't really know. But as for now, I would say Amazon is probably staying away from phones, given how terrible the Fire
Yeah,
was.
if anything, they would probably just try to get Alexa in like as many phones as they can.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
more
yeah.
so providing the software than like making the hardware themselves.
Totally agree. I think they are absolutely their mission is to get Alexa into everything, to really expand this ecosystem, and really getting it on your phone. That's where you spend most of your time is critical to Amazon.
Let's take another question from Ethan Schaefer. Have you heard about the T-Mobile and Sprint merger? If so, do
They're
you think
merging?
that's going to affect? How do you think it's going to affect
I
Sprint
think
users?
it rings a bell.
Yeah, the T-Mobile and Sprint. No, yeah, we're well aware of it. I've been covering this potential merger for seemingly the last decade. Well, not decade, but last 4 or 5 years at least. It's finally happening, and given what's happened with AT&T, Time Warner, I think T-Mobile and Sprint are feeling pretty good about themselves in terms of the prospects of that deal getting approved. In terms of what this might mean for Sprint users, at least in the near term, even after the deal is completed, I think you're going to remain on your service. Some of those crazy deals might go away. I know there's that $15 unlimited data plan right now. That's definitely not going to be around. Over time, you're going to see a gradual transition as people move over to the T-Mobile network. That's usually what happens in these acquisitions because they've got two incompatible networks right now. One is GSM LTE, that's T-Mobile. The other one is CDMA LTE, that's Sprint. And they don't work together. So eventually they've got to move all those customers over, whether through free phone offers or whatever, just to make sure everyone's on one network. Down the line, I would say, presumably, the service would be better. This is a combined company with better wireless spectrum assets, so theoretically, that can make for a better service down the line.
Let's take one more from, who are we going to talk to this time? Here's one from APEC. First of all, happy birthday, APEC. With Comcast bidding for Fox and Disney wanting it too, can Fox choose who they want and decide to just screw the other bidding company over?
I think they would get a
Well,
choice,
yeah,
right?
they would absolutely get a choice. Ultimately, it would be the board making this decision. And of course, they still need shareholder approval. That's ultimately who will decide who they choose to go with. And right now, it just seems like Comcast has a better deal. It's $65 billion in cash as opposed to $52.5 billion in Disney stock. You always want to take the cash.
Is there a chance though that like maybe they could sell off like all the Marvel properties to Disney and then like just split up the family?
I'm pretty sure if I'm Comcast, I'm going to insist that those X-Men characters go with Fox. There's a chance that Disney comes back and ups the offers. So there's definitely people are looking at a potential bidding war here.
What if Comcast is just doing like a very like bro thing for Fox where it's like we know that Disney will like bid more for this, so we'll just like throw this like bid in.
I'm pretty sure you don't throw out a $65 billion offer unless you mean it. I don't know. That would be a heck of a bro thing to do. Like, hey guys,
Look, we can get you more money for this deal.
just hang back, all right?
We had to kind of cut the Firefox story short because it's right at the tail end there. We ran out of time.
Yeah.
But let's expand on it a little bit because Josh Boyda, first and foremost, says, why would we need a voice-controlled browser? That sounds terrible.
So there are all kinds of accessibility reasons. Obviously, there are folks who can't use their hands, who do require some sort of like plug-in now. And so just a default voice control web browser. I think that's useful for not just accessibility reasons, but even if I'm walking down the street and having this browser read my story to me, or
yeah.
read like a Wall Street Journal story or New York Times story to me as I'm walking down the street, and just having that be the default feature, that's kind of cool.
I think voice-based, like, I don't know, being online like with your voice is like that. I do think that's going to be like the next stage of like where we're going.
Yeah.
With, I mean, with the Google Home Assistant and Alexa and all that
exactly.
stuff.
We see it now with
Yeah.
the Echoes and the Google Homes. The computer and your browser, it seems like a
It seems like a
similar-
natural like evolution of it.
Absolutely.
I like from Alex Mitchell. What if Fox bought Fox and kept it out of the other two's hands?
Ooh.
I'm you from the future. Foxmen, Days of Futures Past.
Here to make you money.
So what about this
not.
question? Does Fox have the option to deny both? Well, obviously, they still keep control, right? I mean,
Well, at this point, the companies have to act on the benefit or in the best interest of shareholders, and walking away from two really rich deals like that is pretty much impossible. They would immediately trigger lawsuits and litigation, and frankly, no one wants to walk away from that. I think they're at this point trying to milk the best offer possible.
let's take one from Mike Shaw. Won't Siri and Google Assistant be able to control browsers via voice soon anyways? Is Mozilla's project really necessary?
I mean, that's a great
That's an
question.
interesting point.
Not exactly. So like you can obviously tell Siri like go to google.com or something
Right.
like that, but you can't have it like read the article back to
Yeah.
you. You can't be like click on this page click on the first link on this article or something
Right.
like that. Like it
I mean, I think down the line, Apple might be able to introduce some of these features, but it would sort of be like a bolt-on feature as
Yeah.
opposed to Mozilla working on a browser that is like front and center. That's the reason for its existence, is for voice control, is the ability to use this thing without hands, without physical controls.
Yeah, I guess the difference is like with the other voice assistants that exist currently, it's like assisting you, like we'll take you to this page. But
Right.
like for Mozilla, it's like this is the browser. Like you use this to do things that you would normally do, like with your mouse and like
Exactly.
the keyboard.
From Hunter Monzon. So Lyft and Uber should use a way to confirm. Hang on, let me start that one again. So Lyft and Uber maybe should use a way to confirm all credit card GPS in the smart card. Add a GPS or bring up a notification in Uber, and then the tech for you to allow this transaction. I'm not really sure what he's going at with that.
I think the like recommendation is to basically like know when something is a stolen credit card, or like
Right.
have some kind of like authentication process to like, hey, like, if somebody charges you, send like that person's card an email, like basically saying like, hey, you're like, are you taking this ride or something like that?
Right.
And
And there are some features like that, but it's more
Yeah.
up to the individual
Yeah.
customer.
That's
for that, right?
very tricky though,
Yeah.
because they're not doing it with your Uber account though. So like, how will they know who to email based off just a credit card number?
I mean, there are features on your credit card
Yeah.
that you can sign up for alerts. You can get mobile alerts if
Yeah.
you make a charge, but that again is sort of up to the individual.
Yeah, and so that's very tricky for Uber because like, credit card transactions are just credit card transactions.
Right.
Like if
They
I'm
don't
taking
technically know
they
who
don't
the
yeah
who
they
the
don't
owner
know
is.
if they're stolen or anything like that.
Right.
So that's like the trickier part, and that's not something exclusive to like Uber or Lyft.
Yeah.
Like every industry like faces that issue.
Well, that's the thing. Like and especially if the card isn't reported stolen yet,
Yeah.
like there's no real way for them to detect that.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Like because these cards are like these stolen numbers are usually sold in bulk online. Like that's like the bigger issue with it.
Right, and so I think that's why it's important for this, like, to have these kind of behavioral models
Yeah.
to track, like, specific
Yeah.
actions that tell Uber this is fraud.
Yeah.
Another good one from Ethan. Could Amazon partner with the voice browser, allowing Alexa to be the key AI involved?
Oh, that's with Mozilla. That's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the big play here
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
But I also think that in the same way that like Google pays like Mozilla like millions to be the default browser on Firefox,
Yeah.
they're gonna probably have to pay like a lot of money to like have their voice integration into
So
like,
Amazon would pay Mozilla
so-
for
yeah,
maybe
or,
yeah.
or like Google might.
Although
try-
it's kind of weird to see like I have to ask Alexa or Google to bring up a browser and then have to talk to Scout, I guess, to like ask for the content of the page. It's
Yeah.
just a little. I feel like now you're just talking to like a whole bunch of different assistants and it gets awkward.
yeah.
We have a comment from Alex Mitchell. It says, "I want to hear from my excited about Smash guy." I think he's talking about you, Alfred.
Roger, this is your
Yeah,
moment.
it's definitely it, man. No, Alfred, please.
What is the question?
Let's
wants to
just.
hear more
He
about
wants you to
Smash.
gush about Smash more.
Oh, well,
I think
I'm,
it's just the fact that you gush about something
Yes.
is novelty. So gush away.
I mean, I'm going to go play it later today at the Nintendo World.
Yes,
and
I am letting him go to play video games for work.
this is very important. This is, give me the Pulitzer. You might as well. I mean, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't really played it, so it's kind of hard to
Yeah,
to
yeah,
share
but
your
I've been
thoughts.
watching a ton of gameplay footage of it because there's this guy video game boot camp or something like VGBC, and the guy that hosts it, his name's Gimmer.
Yeah,
But he's at E3 now, and he's been just recording one-on-one matches where like people that have the opportunity to go up
Sorry,
Oh,
that's
just
me. I just dropped my phone.
are so mad about it. But like instead of like actually fighting each other, they're just there like testing out different mechanics. Like, oh, shield exactly when I do this, and I want to see if I can do it. So like
oh,
instead of
wow.
actually having fun with the game, they're doing like extremely
Is that
nerdy
fun
things.
to watch?
I mean, it's fun to find out like all you can about the game
Oh, okay,
like before
okay.
it's out yet.
So is this like educational?
Yeah. So like there's a few things that I know about it already.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's somebody took like frame rate data where like there's landing lag for like 15 frames, whereas in Super Smash Bros. Melee, the landing lag when you did like a certain move was only like 10 frames, which means that you get punished more if you like mess up that move. Yeah, it's
Wow. Yeah, this is. I have to say, I was watching some E3 footage yesterday. I was watching the Spider-Man playthrough
Mm-hmm.
on the PS4, and it really makes me want to buy a PS4.
yeah, this looks like it's probably going to be the best Spider-Man game
Yeah.
since Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 was a complete ripoff. But yeah, this looks pretty fun. Put Spider-Man in Smash.
Ooh.
So wait, with the old memes at play and you being the meme lord and all, Alfred, does this mean that we now have to use the phrase "confirmed" for Ultimate?
Well, everyone is in it now. Literally every new character every other character will have to be a new character. So yeah, I guess, I don't know.
But "confirmed" for Brawl was so much more fun to say.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that like everybody is confirmed. So I don't really know what you can do now.
Unless there's a new character
Yeah.
that you want to confirm.
Any character that they add in would have to be a new character though.
I say,
Is
what
there-
at
is
this
there-
point,
is there a dream character you'd want? to confirm?
Shrek. Put Shrek in the game.
All right.
Also, everyone really wants Waluigi. That's like
Waluigi's not in it?
no,
Oh, that's
he's an
kinda
assist trophy,
Oh, right.
like he was in Brawl as well.
That is kind of surprising to me.
see, I think that's kind of a crime when you have Wario as well, and even Green Mario, but no Waluigi.
Yeah, they even put in Daisy.
Who the hell cares?
No, exactly like like Daisy's in it and Waluigi's not in it. I mean, I get the argument where like, okay, well, if we let Waluigi in, then what are we gonna let Birdo in too? But like, come
Oh,
on,
wow.
Birdo
this-
was in tennis.
yeah, Waluigi's in tennis. They created Waluigi for Mario Tennis because Wario needed a partner in 64.
It made perfect sense.
Yeah,
This is
Should
all.
I-
This
should I
is what I'm
step
going
out
to
of the
do from
room?
now on, Rogers. I'm just going to bait Alfred.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Waluigi's incredible. He deserves much more than being left out.
All right, let's
All
get
right.
one more serious
Get back
question
on
for the
track.
road.
Yeah,
Josh Boyd asks, how does GPS spoofing actually benefit people frauding Uber? I
Oh,
guess we
good-
need a
good
few more
question. Can you
details to
break
kind of
it
flesh
down?
that out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I explained this yesterday to my friends because they're like, why are they just spending money on Uber rides? So
Right.
when you have a stolen credit card, you can't like just go to an ATM and like take money out of it or anything like that. I mean, most of the times because you only have the number. So people on like the dark web community, they call them like carders because it's called carding. They try to find all these different ways that they can make money off of the stolen credit cards because all you really want is cash out of it. So they'll get these stolen credit card numbers and they'll do things like they'll buy like a ton of PS4s or something like that, and then they'll sell it online
Yeah.
to get cash that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So they figured out a quick way to do it is to do it through like rideshare apps where you are the driver and then the stolen
passenger?
credit card is the passenger.
Ah,
So they give themselves the money.
right.
But like obviously they're not gonna like do the drives themselves
Right.
too. So like the way they do it instead is they use the GPS spoofing apps on both phones, so it makes it look like the drive
Like they've
finished.
gone on some sort of
Yeah,
ride.
and then they use the stolen credit cards to pay themselves. Uber takes like a 20% cut of it, or like how? Yeah, I think they
Right.
take that much, but then they still get like the 80% of like the
Yep.
money that they stole in
yeah.
the first place. So they use the spoofing apps to basically do all this stuff without ever having to go anywhere.
Uber tracked down these scammers through the account that they set up to become a driver.
But they take the money out before Uber takes the money back.
Oh,
And then once they don't care that they're banned. They can just make another
make
account.
a new account.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that easy. I thought there was like a screening process for drivers.
Yeah, so there was a guide on it at one point on like how to pull off this scam on like the dark web,
Yeah.
and they said like you're supposed to like go in and like do the screening thing,
Yeah.
but apparently it's like so easy that like anyone like they don't really check that much. Yeah, it's crazy. And then like I said, they also like scam like Uber's incentive programs. So like if you do like 125 trips a day, they'll give you an extra $500 bonus.
Right.
That's a lot of trips in a day, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, you like, but if you're not driving all that much, if you're just tapping on your screen, that's like an extra $500 just for like on top of what you're already stealing.
Wow.
So wait, how did they screw it up so bad so that the algorithm makes it look like they're flying? That's what I want to
Yeah,
know. Or is
so-
that part of it? Is that supposed to be that
It's
way?
not
and
supposed to be
deter-
that
Yeah,
way.
it's not supposed to be that way. So GPS like spoofing apps are like pretty decent. Like people use them to cheat Pokemon Go all the time.
Right.
Like when they're not like, they don't want to keep going around. So they just make their phone say like, oh, I'm at this location.
That's just basic VPN.
Yeah. But the thing is that like, while they're good at adjusting your latitude and longitude, they're not that good at like adjusting your altitude. Like, and that's how they kind of figured it out where like, because like when you're driving or when you're going anywhere, obviously the altitude always changes with like hills and
Sure,
like different roads
sure.
and stuff like that. The GPS spoofing apps are not that advanced to know like, oh, on this street it's this altitude and then on that street it's like lower. So
Right.
they just have like one steady altitude all the time. For some reason it's always in the sky. So there was like, oh, like that's how we know these are the scam rides.
Got it.
I think it's funny. It just makes me think of, remember the movie Office Space, where
Yeah.
they tried to scam like fractions of a penny on the dollar kind of thing, transactions to
The
skim off the
Superman.
top.
That's a Superman
It's
4 scam.
Yeah, Michael Scott.
Superman 3.
3?
3.
4 was Quest for Peace. I'm sorry.
And that had Solar
Superman
Man in
3
it.
with
We will
Richard
not
Pryor.
speak of it again, Roger.
Which one? Quest for Peace?
Quest for Peace.
I liked it.
Anyways, it's the plot of Superman 3, and then they go to check the balance in the morning, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh crap, and he's taking like millions of dollars from the company fund. I feel like that's
Well, it's 'cause they
that's
missed the
basically
decimal
like this
point, right?
Uber is a sequel to that.
Yeah, pretty much. Except it's effective.
Yeah, they've caught it. So.
Oh, that's not nearly as fun. We are just about out of time, and let's just get meta for a second. Matthew Datcher asks, I've always wondered, what does the CNET gang do on Fridays? If it's not clear, we play Smash.
Well, you two
No.
play Smash. I don't play Smash.
We'll get you there. We are out of time. We are out of week. And it's great to be back, everybody. Thanks again for being patient with us during the tumultuous scheduling stuff that we've been dealing with lately. But we're back. We'll see you again on
hopefully
Monday.
we'll be back on Monday with a more consistent schedule on camera.
I'm sure some curse will happen.
Yeah, we've had a run of bad luck, so thank
Blame
you for
Kevin
bearing with us.
Durant.
I'll blame Kevin Durant for a lot of
Everything is
things.
Kevin Durant's fault.
All right, our podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, and the Amazon Alexa. Of course, we're on CNET. Check us out there. See you all. Have a good weekend. See you all on Monday.
Bye-bye.